तुमको अच्छी लगी सारी बातें जहाँ की छाया है जादू जैसे.
What the hell are you doing? Are you serious?
This is scary.
I may not be able to sing as good as James Corden, but I can drive better than James Corden. Let me tell you right now. Doing this in India?
James Corden would fail in India. Like he would crash everything.
Let me promise you. Bring it, Jamesy.
Music, like culture, is a funny thing. No matter where we're born in the world, we have this odd compulsion for rhyme, rhythm, melody, and harmony. And while the general principles of music are the same all around the world, even the tiniest of cultures have been customizing the art form for time immemorial. The history of music is one of constant alteration and evolution and cross-pollination. But in the 20th century, with the rise of recording equipment and free society's irrepressible urge to complicate things with well-meaning but short-sighted laws, something changed. Music began to be shackled by intellectual property laws that we've all been indoctrinated to believe protect songwriters and musicians. But for a century, they've consolidated power for middlemen, lawyers, accountants, and now politically correct thought police. Do we violate the intellectual property rights of songbirds when we sing a harmonic series? Is music property, or is it just another in a long list of human ventures that we've managed to turn into walled-off cities that you need permission to access? Today we challenge you to listen to the sounds of India, some of its citizens and its musicians old and new, as we wrestle through this confounding question: what is music, and who reserves the right to claim it as their own? It's an exploration of a cross-cultural symphony of sound from America to India and beyond in this special musical edition of American Indian. We're an American family living in India. We love food, film, language, culture, and making new friends. Join our adventures from America to India and beyond. When I was in second grade, I attended my first classical music performance. And driving home from that performance, I knew Western classical music was in my blood. Around the same time, my second grade teacher had musical instruments brought into our class. I touched the violin one time and thought, man, I'm good at this. It wasn't true. No one is good at violin the first time they pick it up. But some dreams start out as delusions, and after seeing that first concert, I wanted to be the solo violinist on stage. I went to sleep as a child from 2nd to 5th grade listening to Mendelssohn's Violin Concerto in E minor, Beethoven's Violin Concerto in his 9th Symphony, and Mozart's 3rd and 5th Violin Concertos. They took me to another realm as I would lay there in bed at night. We had these puffy ceilings with sparkles on them in the apartment I lived in as a kid. I would listen to Mendelssohn as I imagined I was jumping from sparkle to sparkle up there in the darkness, flying among the stars propelled by Mendelssohn. Mendelssohn, Beethoven, Mozart changed my life. They were dudes from other countries, very different cultures, long ago, from my perspective at least, and these men who I would never know, whose language I would never understand, were speaking to me without words. We've all had similar experiences when it comes to music, no matter where we're from. Music speaks to us and changes us, and as a child, for me, these were a few of the guys who changed me most. I decided to ask a wide array of people, both foreigners and locals, about the songs and musicians who had the greatest impact on their lives.
So tell us, if you are going to a deserted island and you could only have one track of all time, of all types of music, and to give you solace and inspiration on this deserted island, what would you pick?
Lobo, I'd love you to want me the way that I want you. I feel like a deserted island is not exactly the ideal place to play that, but it was my father's favorite song, so I feel like I would just freak out slightly less.
A song Mere Naina Sawan Bhado.
I know there's a ton of titles that are Terabina, but A.R. Rahman's Terabina is one of the most beautiful pieces. It's one of the first songs that I was like, all right, I want to watch Bollywood movies because this music is beautiful.
There is one cantata by Bach. I forget the German name. It has the word Stimme in it, but just that chorus and that chord pattern along with it is just goose pimples inducing every time. So that Bach cantata would be the one, and then the Indian one would be essentially this this thubri called Alubela Sajan in Ahir Bhairavi. and that is again quite amazing. So these are the two things I would pick.
तेरे सामने वाली खिड़की में एक चांद का टुकड़ा रहता है, अफसोस की वो हमसे बस रुखड़ा रुखड़ा रहता है.
There's a lot of Black Sabbath, a lot of Ozzy Osbourne. The Ozzy Osbourne's No More Tears album.
Okay.
You know, that was, man, I grew up on that.
ओल्ड मूवीज़, दिल मूवीज़, आमिर खान और इसका संगीतकार उदित नारायण.
The way that I even heard about Indian music at all was through Beatles music. And so, like, hearing of George Harrison's relationship with Ravi Shankar that was my first avenue in, like, to Indian classical music.
Pretty much prior to going out of India, the only two acts I had seen in India were Deep Purple and Jethro Tull. And those were great experiences. And they ended up, both of those bands ended up becoming huge favorites simply because they were the only ones I'd heard live.
राज मूवी का सॉन्ग है, मो को कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे, मैं तो तेरे पास में, ना मस्जिद में, ना मूरत में, ना काबे कैलाश में.
Something like that. The girl was insane, or the guy was insane. I'm not sure what happened. Yeah, the girl was insane, and the guy took care of her like for so many years.
I know what you're talking about. It's
and then at the end, she becomes okay, and she forgets all about him, and people think that he becomes crazy because she doesn't remember her.
Is it the lady from English when she was locked?
Yeah, Sridevi,
Sridevi,
and the guy is the one
I
from
know
Chachi
exactly.
420.
Yes.
Kamal Hassan.
Oh, that's the one. I didn't realize it was him. Oh, that has some great music in it.
Yeah,
no, I know
so
exactly what you're
the
talking
song
about.
which he sings to her every night to like help her fall asleep. That is one song that that's good.
I think I vaguely remember that. I think someone shared it on the channel one time.
आज के हिसाब से देखा जाए तो आई लाइक द सोनू निगम, अरिजीत सिंह, अकॉन, लेडी गागा.
Oh, the Western.
Yes. So.
Singers, Adele, Someone Like You.
The New World Symphony, Dvorak, like, it still remains one of my very favorite pieces. Like, I heard that, I think, when I was in 4th or 5th grade, and that was like really, it's just stuck with me. Like, I probably listened to it 2 nights ago.
Bands like Mogwai, Godspeed You Black Emperor, and Explosions in the Sky. I like that kind of sound. To an extent, Death Cab for Cutie and so on as well.
No doubt two of the most influential singers in the history of Bollywood music were Kishore Kumar and Mohammed Rafi. Own Books provided us a copy of Sujata Dev's book, Mohammed Rafi, Golden Voice of the Silver Screen. I learned a lot about him from this book, which helped me sift through his prodigious catalog of performances. And when I say prodigious in reference to Rafi in particular, I mean it. Rafi alone sang an estimated 5,000 film songs that have been documented. We talk about perfect pitch in the West, but we only use 12 frequencies in an octave. Indian musicians can seemingly exploit every single frequency with a precision that is really daunting to those of us used to a strict major or minor scale. What is amazing about these Indian playback singers is not just their absolute mastery and perfect pitch of tonal ranges that make Western musicians scratch our heads. It is the way they change their voices to suit the on-screen actors. Singers like Rafi and Kishore Kumar and many more were voice actors of a sort and are to this day. The Mohammed Rafi that belted Yahoo for Shami Kapoor sounded different from the one who crooned for Dev Anand, mourned for Rajkumar, or joked for Johnny Walker.
तो उनका 3.5 ऑक्टेव जो है स्वर सारेगा में बदलेगा खरज का बीच का और सारेगा हाई पिच का उनका तीनों और 3.5 ऑक्टेव उनके गले में बराबर था और कहीं खिंचाव मालूम नहीं चलता था. रफ़ी साहब के गाने में गले में ये खूबी थी कि आपको हर टोन बराबर दिखता था कि बीच में ही है वो खड़ा, लेकिन कितना हाई पिच से वो गाना गा रहा है वो जब आप गाएंगे तब महसूस करेंगे. और उतना हाई पिच गाने के बाद भी उनका बेस साउंड का जो बेस जो था, जो नाद की आवाज़ होती है नाभि का नेवल साउंड, ही है प्रॉपर, ही क्रिएट दैट, है ना, उसको प्रॉपर रखते थे. दाद इलाही जिसको बोलते हैं, दाद इलाही खुदा की देन थी उनके गले में, एक मालिक की देन समझ रहे?
For me, the Ruffy song that hits me most is a duet he did with Mana Day dedicated to Lord Shiva from the film Kalpana in 1960. Tu Hai Mera Prem Devta is an over 9-minute masterpiece accompanied by a fantastic devotional dance. Ruffy was a Muslim, a devout Muslim, yet he could sing a Hindu devotional song with such heartfelt identification. He wasn't becoming a Hindu in doing so, but he was dignifying the tradition in such a beautiful way. And the song and the dance that accompanies it are true masterpieces. Perfect Bollywood dance scene, absolutely timeless song that finds a way to reverence Shiva traditions but adapting them for a wider audience in a cinematic way while communicating character development at the same time for two of the film's female characters. That's a lot of stuff for a song and dance number to accomplish, and it does it perfectly. What are some of your favorite Ruffy songs? Let us know in the comments. If Mohammed Ruffy had a competitor in his industry in terms of output and staying power, it was the genius singer and actor Kishore Kumar. It's hard to overstate this gentleman's impact on the Indian film industry. He was funny, he was super talented, and like Ruffy, he could mold his voice and style to fit any occasion. It's hard for me to pick a favorite Kishore Kumar song. I love Sati Re, Ek Ladki Bhigi Bhagi Si, but if I had to pick one that serves not only as a fantastic song to listen to, but also one of the best Bollywood scenes to date, it has to be the music video montage sort of dance scene from Sate Pe Sata, the Bollywood version of Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, the unforgettable song, Pyar Hame Kis Mor Pe. I was introduced to this song by a cross-cultural musician, if ever there was one, Krish Ashok. Krish did 2 covers of this legendary song. One of them was a mashup of Kiss More Pay with a tragic Louis Armstrong song, and it is one of my favorite mashups ever. There's something truly amazing about mixing the timeless resonance of Armstrong's voice with this mournful but somehow hopeful meditation on the obstacles love puts in our way. In another version, Ashok took the tune and reinterpreted it as Western symphonic metal. And yes, it's as awesome as it sounds. I couldn't get a chance to visit Krish Ashok down in South India, but I did meet him online to ask him about his musical influences. Please forgive the quality of the video here, but I really wanted to share Krish's incredible cross-cultural musical influences and influence in this episode.
The interesting thing is that the first sort of cross-cultural things I was doing was largely not on music, it was actually on writing. So I started this blog that eventually sort of turned into my online personality now, that where I used to do sort of mix science fiction and Indian mythology and mix all these sorts of things that didn't go together. And as part of doing that sort of, verbal mixing, if you will, I thought I'd let me do a first experiment on the music side because, till that point of time, I hadn't really put any of my music online. So I thought I'd let me do a very minimalist Indian classical variation of the Imperial March. Really popular, and then I said, okay, maybe I should do more of these kinds of interesting mixes, and then so it kind of took on from there. I said, let me do Sanskrit heavy metal, let me do let me take cheesy Bollywood songs and turn them into slightly more elaborately arranged Western classical things that it can, and obviously take Arnab Goswami and sort of do things with that.
Subramaniam Swami, what? Subramaniam Swami, what? Mr. Swami.
You're asking a question, you liar?
Mr. Swami, please listen.
You dumbo.
I grew up being an Indian classical musician, and then I was actually forced to learn Indian classical music. Quite prescriptive in terms of what you can and cannot play, no popular music, sort of very elitist and so on. It wasn't until I actually went to the US that I really sort of was exposed to other forms of music. And so I studied at a conservatory for 2 years, the piano, and then that is when I learned to read sheet music. Till that point of time, it was all... So Indian music is all improvisation. You don't actually read from anything. And so it's actually I usually have fun when I do live shows with this European friend of mine who plays the cello, and we say let's just improvise on the Game of Thrones theme, and he said, okay, do we have sheet music? I said, no, we don't, let's just improvise. He says, no, I can't play without sheet music. The strictness of the classical training and the insistence that you not mix was probably the first reason I said, you know what, I must mix if they're saying it's really that bad. Now that there's more broader acceptance, but when I was growing up, there was this very elitist distinction between classical music and film music, and you're not supposed to sort of mix the both. Loha Purusha, which was the Black Sabbath remix, because eventually, after a lot of individual work putting the whole thing together, I didn't quite expect that it would just end up sounding reasonably nice. In that, I mean, I grew up idolizing Tommy Iommi and so on, and I'm in awe at the riffs that he's actually designed for that whole thing. And I wish the creative process behind thinking about those songs was just insane, right? And all I'm doing is just basically remaking it with Sanskrit and so on. But I really enjoyed it. You can find most of my music at soundcloud.com/Krishashok, and my sort of more remix project, which is soundcloud.com/Paradesi Noise. And then my blog is at krishashok.me. That's it.
Krish's Juggled Buddy album is absolutely fantastic. It's available on iTunes. Click in the description below for the link. Back over in America, a British dude who most of us Doctor Who fans know as Craig, James Corden, has made quite the splash with his Carpool Karaoke series. And being that it is a musical episode, Melissa thought it would be fun to try it out over here. We're not the first to try this in India. That honor goes to our buddies over at What's Trending India, when Pranay was joined by Mandani Karami to do a little bit of singing on the go in Mumbai. So we thought we would round up some musical friends and do a bit of original music, classic music, and whatever else came to us as we brave the traffic of some of the national capital region's most epically infamous traffic hubs.
All right, we are rolling. We are in the car.
Oh my God.
We are in Carpool Karaoke with Ananya.
Yes. Hi.
Is that the correct way to pronounce it?
No, it's not.
At all? Okay, pronounce it correctly
It's
for us.
Ananya Pawar. So the
Pawar,
N is
Pawar?
silent. Yeah.
Ah, Pawar. All right, so we're going to do some Carpool Karaoke, James Corden style.
Yep.
And I'm going to try to harmonize, but I suck.
Great.
So.
There we go.
Yeah, she's got to multitask.
Yes.
La 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 la.
The roses in her garden reek of lights. I'm sticking around with the crowd. Do you always have to patronize? There's no ghost in my bedroom. There's no ghost in my mind. I'll sit here waiting for a whistle or chime. There's no ghost in my bedroom. There's no ghost in my mind. There's no ghost in my bedroom. There's no ghost in my bedroom. Yes.
Ah, nice.
That was ghosts. Yay, we did it.
It's her original song,
Yes,
and
it's
that's
an original
really, really well practiced harmonies and stuff from me on the other side, and
Yes.
almost
There-
driving off the road at one point.
Yeah. It's written in our stars we can't change. Fade, fade, fade. When you're gone and there's nobody home, the tears won't stop, and I'm all alone. Will this feeling be enough?
All right, Seti, you ready for this?
Are you ready?
We're ready.
All right, so here we go.
Mama tujhe
I can't
salam.
get that high. Vande Mataram. Vande Mataram. Vande Mataram. Vande Mataram. Vande Mataram. So, tell us a little bit about this award that you got and some of the work you've done with the Garhwali. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Garhwali. So basically, on the 21st of February, I got awarded the National Media Youth Icon Award. So I'm from there, and basically I noticed how a lot of new Garhwali music wasn't exactly carrying on the same ideals as our traditional folk music was, which was about like environment and nature and conservation and basically spirituality. So artists like Sri Narendra Singh Negi ji and Gopal Babu Goswami and Chandra Singh Rahi ji, and I added like a pop fusion touch to it so that it would help kids my age or my generation basically to get interested in the good music that we already have. The government was really happy because it's something which not a lot of new generation has tried experimenting with, and I think folk and fusion just go well together.
So yeah, that's one of the things that this channel is all about is sharing culture, sharing India's culture, and we get a lot of Delhi culture because that's where we live.
Yes.
But there are so many cultures that are kind of in danger of being lost just by the soft power of, and it's not so soft anymore, but the power of English. And so what do you think could be done to help preserve like Garhwali language and some of these regional languages that are kind of getting pushed out, elbowed out by like English and Hindi?
I think we should focus more on preserving the culture because that's where the language stems from.
Right.
And our culture is basically our folk music, folk art, and folk tradition.
And so music is a great way to preserve it.
Music is a great because it transcends generations, boundaries, distance, everything. And now we have social media. So I feel like it's really easy to share sounds. It's really easy to kind of like, know what our elders are trying to tell us with their music.
Definitely.
Because everything has a message.
You've also been doing some charitable work, teaching music to kids in slum areas who just have been tempted by, I think that's a global problem. Kids are getting, that are close to the streets, get tempted by liquor or drugs or whatever it is that's going to an abnormal rate, right, at a young age. Like we visited certain places where even if they don't have access to like the drugs we have in the West, cocaine and heroin and all these kind of things, that
but
meth,
even the local drugs are very
but the
bad.
local drugs, like there's some places where glue can be such an addictive thing.
Whitener,
right? Yeah, like there are things that we kind of overlook. Like people will find some way to get high. So tell us a little bit about that work that you do.
Basically, since I was 11 years old, the slums of Delhi were sort of really close by to my place, like a kilometer or two away. So I would when I would go for my classes or stuff like that, I would see these kids as young as 7 and 8.
Right.
Sitting in liquor shops. And violence was at an all-time high, I think, in that area. Even I was forbidden to be around the area because my mother was scared, because a lot of violence goes in those areas. As a musician, I kind of understood the power of music on our entire system, right? So I feel like if these kids were introduced to arts, not just music, art and craft and dance, maybe they'll find something else that they could invest their time and energy in. Getting secondhand instruments to the slums and helping them identify what they're good at. Some kids were good at percussion, some had a natural talent for singing, and they made little bands, and for over 3 years now they've been clean.
That is a creative, cross-cultural, and constructive way to combat problems, as opposed to just complaining about it or talking about it in the news.
Complaining or debating about it, protesting about it. Go out there, get your hands, get your feet dirty, be there.
Because one of the problems I think in America is we make it a war, it's a drug war. We're just going to, but when you declare a war on the substance, the casualties are the people that are using the substance or the people that are addicted to the substance. They are already casualties. Don't throw them under the bus, and that we just tend to do that, incarcerate them, put them in jail, and so a much more constructive way is give them another outlet, give them something else to do.
And it takes time. Obviously, change isn't gonna come in a day or in a night. Obviously, it takes time. There were times when I was frustrated because these kids would sneak in alcohol into my music class.
Right, yeah.
So
that's not easy.
and I would be furious. So I set up ground rules. I was listen, I'm not going to tell you to leave this in a day. I'm not going to tell you that you're prohibited from drinking from this point onwards.
Right.
But for the 4 or 5 hours that I am with you, that I am in the slum, no one will touch alcohol and no one will be high when they're interacting with me.
We've got, I think, like 2 seconds of battery left. Should we do Pyar one more time?
Yes.
One more time. All right. Let me.
Let's do
pull
it.
over. Pyar mein kis more pele aaya, ki dil kar hai, ye bata kya hoga. Welcome to the Carpool Karaoke, Luke.
Oh, such pleasure and honor to be here.
So,
The Fordmobile.
if you had to go to a desert island and you could only bring one song with you to inspire you and keep up your morale, what would it be?
Slipknots before I forget.
But we're going to start off on the other side of the spectrum, because this is the first time I heard Luke. Spectrum was in my car, actually. We
Yeah.
were doing Carpool Karaoke without the camera running before James Corden, and it was here in Delhi.
Oh,
Let's do this.
yes.
You're going to belt this out?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, here you go, ladies and gentlemen. You'll never hear anything like this. It's all you, man. I'll do the violin part. It's just like that. We were driving over by Lajpat Nagar, and I was like, what? What?
And now the skill change, I guess. The skill change is epic.
Oh, shall I sing you my rap?
Yeah.
This is how it is, and
It's the Ford trap going down.
this is the real song.
Straight out of Calcutta.
When in the course of human events it becomes necessary to break off our ends from the means that keep on binding our dreams to a facsimile kingdom where money grows on trees, a garden of Eden, fertilized by eating, sleeping, buying, consuming. Hannibal is checking on his livestock, fatting heavy peacocks, waiting for the slaughterhouse. Just a little chicken louse, dining on a church mouse, too fattened by communion bread, swimming in the cup of Christ, drunk on the blood of the Savior, believed to be a mayor in a candy-coated city of soothsayers, telling you to feel good. Everything is upworthy. Sugar Daddy Bernie, ain't no need to hurry. Uncle Sam is here to compensate your every little worry. So keep on, carry on, and burn that Monopoly money till it's all gone. Living life like it's a game on easy. We got our God mode, Chico, Gigi, easy peasy, no child left behind. Too big to fail. Bureaucratic subsidized state of mind. Mediocrity for sale. Black Friday stampede. It's part of your life. It's just another link in the human centipede. Don't worry about investing in cashback gods we trust in. Just put it all in plastic. A tisket, a tasket. Bask in it. Your trick dad design a casket. Going to Duluth's picnic in a red and yellow basket. We're all just waiting on a genie. A maggot god messiah. Making sure we're tasty. blubbering boneless babies. Our feet are filled with brawn, though our shackled souls in escrow, addicted to the fruit tree. Don't we feel like gods, so we'll eliminate our progeny. Eugenics in disguise, Margaret Sanger in a manger. Dressed up like philanthropy, choking on our choices. Hush contrary voices, on Mustafa Mandis, filling up our bellies, massaging all our maladies, giving us our soma, disneyfying Epsilons into a pleasure island coma. Or John Maynard Keynes, we bowing on our knees, we ask you to receive our ties, please, of lotteries and shopping sprees, traps and taxes, subsidizing irresponsibility.
I took a wrong turn. And do you have one of your songs? Maximize the promotion ability.
Q, we can do that. It's a new thing that I'm working on with a friend of mine. Okay. Yet unreleased, but just for the good people watching, recommend it. So it's still a rough cut. Still rough. I find myself in a new place, a paradise I never claimed, indoctrinated with another foul scheme. I will follow till the end. I will wait. Just trust upon me, a little lie, a greater lie. Just trust upon me, a little lie, a better life. The killer has been let loose. This killer never had to choose. The mirror never looked so strange. And now, this is the part that I really like. So help me understand this. Why am I come here? Help me understand this. Who was I and what's become of me? I'm gone. I ordinate them off to find the ways. Expect alacrity, deny me my clarity, enslaved to existence, zeros and salvation. I am the educator, I am the educated. And then, part of the metal.
Man, I love it. I love it.
I love this group. Karan Khurana, one of the best songwriters. I love the pleasure of music.
Dude, it's great, man. I love this like steel guitar thing, like merging in with this. It's so good. Dude. So help me. Understand this. Yeah. So help me understand this.
Okay, so Christian Show, this cross-cultural musician extraordinaire from South India, has got. He's the one that did the Inception remix with Subramaniam Swami.
Subramaniam Swami.
This one, so there's two different versions here. We've got one that is a mashup with Louis Armstrong's St. James Infirmary, and mixed up with Kishore Kumar's Pyar.
करे हाय हाय कोई ये बताए क्या होगा. I went down to St. James Infirmary. Saw my baby there. She was stretched out on a long white table. So cold, so sweet, so fair.
Of course, music is more than singers and melodies. It's a lot about rhythm, and no one knows rhythm like a tabla player. My friend Pete, an accomplished guitarist and singer, has been taking tabla lessons from his guruji for most of his time here in India. I decided to join Pete and get a first-hand look at how a tabla lesson goes.
So Pete, tell me about a tabla.
They always go together, left and right. It's not tabla, unless it's both.
Or ye kya hai? What is that?
Just baby powder. Just keeps your hands dry. Thing everybody learns first, basically, is called teen tal. That's kind of the root rhythm and basic like left hand, right hand combination that like so many pieces are built off of. So it's a great foundation. It's pretty simple in one sense, but all the variations that come out of teen tals, all the variations that we're learning and all the variations that he could possibly come up with that like fall into that stream are like incredible and so complex. It's beautiful.
What is it like learning tabla?
It's without a doubt the most difficult instrument I've ever tried to learn. In US I was playing like all the guitar type instruments, so electric guitars, bass guitar, steel guitar, which is also like has its complexities, but tabla is wow, something else.
When it comes to bands, there's one band that has influenced me the most. I don't know what it is about the British Isles, but they sure seem to be able to churn out some of the best musicians in the world. Pete was inspired by the Beatles. My new Indian friends taking tabla lessons were inspired by Adele. I've been inspired by Radiohead. A number of years back, I was on the way to a performance in Fort Walton Beach, and my good friend, multi-instrumentalist, and fellow orchestra member Michael and I stopped at a big bookstore where Radiohead's newest album, In Rainbows, was on sale. Up until that point, I had only heard a handful of their songs. For some reason, I just never paid them mind. I don't know why. But I read online that they were offering their new album for free as a download. I was so intrigued by that because these are made musicians and they're giving away their music for free. Why would they do that unless they really believed in it? So I decided to buy the album, and that was, in my musical journey, Truly a red pill kind of moment. Radiohead became my biggest musical influence since Mendelssohn, and they made me realize that if I really believe in my musical output, that I should share it willingly and freely, especially in a world where copyright and digital rights management have made not only performing other people's work more difficult, but even listening to it once you've paid money for it. So, inspired by Radiohead's generous act, with this episode I'm one-upping them. I'm offering all of my music that I have written and performed for free, not just to listen to, but to perform and make money off of. Copyright, intellectual property, rights management, licensing, and concerns of cultural propriety have straitjacketed the global musical conversation. So I wanted to do my own small part of pushing things in a different direction. Down with copyright, my music is copyleft, Creative Commons, and always will be. Now, I don't have any music that is even worth putting in the same sentence as Radiohead, but I will one day, and that's a promise. And in the meantime, I've written some pretty good lyrics in my opinion, but I just don't have a voice to sing them. Maybe some of you do, so this episode is a challenge to every viewer. If you're a singer, a remixer, a rapper, instrumentalist, producer, or have a friend that is a musician, take my stuff and use it. Make it better, rearrange it, use it as our soundtrack for a music video or a vlog. Innovate, appropriate it. I'm ready to hear some new stuff, aren't we all? Until next time, keep it creative, keep it cross-cultural, and keep it constructive, lords and ladies. Thank you so much.
Empires fall, empires die. See that tear back in your eye. If you fight, you'll only live a lie. Start out small, start out kind. Ouroboros, how he'll try to eat all you build into the sky. तेरे बिना भी क्या जीना गलियों में सपनों की गलियों में something sorry तेरे बिना भी क्या जीना ओ साथी रे तेरे बिना भी क्या जीना तेरे बिना भी क्या जीना What a song, man. Yeah, man.